Jelena Kohajm, welcome. Thank you for joining us today and for agreeing to do this interview. You're currently the manager of the professional peer review service and support system, yes?
Yes.
And you've had many roles in the past. Can you walk us through from the very beginning of your peer review experience?
Yes, thank you for having me here. I kind of stumble in peer review systems and all this story. I started as customer support, and that was pretty much handy-on, and very straightforward, resolving cases and problems within the system. And early on, my managers realized that I'm a pioneer at heart and that I like learning new things. So I started and I involved in different projects. And I think management came later, like normal.
Natural
yeah.
continuation.
Sure.
Yeah. So going back to the very beginning, the tier 1 team, and it was a long time ago, but do you remember some of the most common issues authors or reviewers had, some misunderstanding of the peer review process, anything like that?
Yeah, it was always some kind of file conversion problems, helping authors with submission of their manuscripts, helping reviewers with invitations, etc. And always this most boring part of this work is actually, this job is actually logging problems, password resets.
We've all had that.
That was the most common issues.
And what about you and your progress? What did this role teach you, or anything that helped you maybe later on?
Yeah, I actually learned what experience and from users and looks like. So I understood that we need to have a clear communication to help them to understand their perspective. And yeah, I think that's it.
Good enough. And then your next role was assistant to editors.
Exactly.
Yeah? So what does an assistant to editor actually do day-to-day basis?
Basically, they do everything, a little bit of everything. There are a lot of emails, there are a lot of nudging editors, calming nerves, that's a lot of technical issues also, which is main point in customer support. And actually, editorial assistants keep the machine running behind the scene and without noticing that. And nobody noticed that. So, yeah.
All right. So just for everybody to understand, can you walk us through the life cycle process of a manuscript from the moment it's submitted until it's until the decision of being accepted or rejected? In short, you don't have to go into a lot of details.
So author submit manuscript, we do initial check, then assigned editor decides whether a paper will be sent out to peer review or editorially rejected. If the paper is sent out to review, then reviewers are invited and reviewers eventually return their comments and the decision is made. After that, that's the first round of revision, sometimes multiple times. Then a manuscript is accepted, then exported, then T&Q or production team does their magic and paper is published at the end.
Yay.
And behind the scene, there are a lot of follow-up and a lot of communication and a lot of work.
From the assistants to editors and the editors part, yeah. And I mean, as I understand, a lot of these journals are quite different. We have the difference between open access journals and traditional submission. What's the main difference there?
Basically, from our end, the workflow is the same, and our work is the same, but it differs because open access journal has APC, article publishing charges, so funding questions are brought up earlier in the process, and authors are more involved because they're paying for that. And also transparency is the main point of open access journal, more as subscription journals.
So from your perspective, which type of journal is more challenging to work on?
I would say open access, especially high volume open access journals, because you need to maintain quality of the work, and there are a lot of work. It's like a bottomless barrel, endless job, with high volume open access journals.
All right. And you've also had experience with different publishers. I mean, journals from different publishers. What stays the same and what is different between these publishers?
Different is system they use, peer review system they use, procedures, type of communication style. But what remains the same is, I would say, what peer review is, core goal, and that is fair and rigorous peer review.
All right. So talking about assisting editors, we have editors-in-chief, we have different roles that editors have. So can you walk us through this?
So assigned editors or section editors, how you call them, they actually care only of one manuscript. Editor-in-chief has a bigger picture. They think about perspective of the journal, in which way will journal go, so they have a bigger picture. And I would say it's more challenging working with editor-in-chiefs. And when you have good communication, as I used to have with my editor-in-chief, we actually made the journal what it was. It was golden years of that journal in terms of its growth and, how it stayed. So
and you mentioned the relationship you had. So what makes a good relationship between the assistant to the editor and the editor?
I would say communication and trust, and knowing as an editorial assistant when to step in or to step back. And I had a really good experience that was brainstorming, exchanging ideas. So it was, running a journal like, it's your baby and you have a goal to make it work. And
how do you learn this? How do you learn when to step in and when to step back?
Well, that's, this is people business, and you need to first show that you know what are you doing, so that you gain respect. And then you need to be a bit of a psychologist to know the person from the other side. For example, I had relationship that was beyond co-worker relationship, and we never met in person.
And now as a manager, I assume you have this opportunity or this space to share this knowledge with new team members. So what does it look like training new team members in the peer review process from the manager's side? From the manager's side,
my first thing is to try to explain them what peer review is. They can learn procedures, they can learn rules, but understanding the context is the hardest part. And that's what I'm trying to explain. And after that, they can learn procedures, and I'm always there. When they have questions.
Sorry. And how, one part is training new members as a manager, but what are some other different aspects from this new role that you have?
It's always challenging to maintain consistency and to take care of burnout and to be there for your team members.
So how do you do this?
Well, I think it's natural for me, you know. And as always, we are going back to this, what I said, when to step in and when to step back. That always, like, for team members, you need to learn and to understand your team members. We are all different persons.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
You need to have a different approach.
Right. Good thing you're the manager.
Thank you. I hope so.
Yeah. So, Jelena, I mean, having worn all these different hats of being in technical support and then assisting editors and then managing a team of peer review assistants, what's something that maybe you understand now that you may not have understood at the beginning?
Yeah, so each role actually added a new layer of perspective for me. And I understand now that it's not rigid and mysterious system. It's just people business. And if you see, it's fascinating. Now it brought actually hyperproduction of scientific works. It's beautiful to see how smart people arguing productively.
And this is what you understand now that you didn't, but is there something that is consistently misunderstood from the side of authors or reviewers about the system, that maybe if they knew about it, things would run smoother? Or
I think they are not aware of what is behind the scenes and how many follow-ups, communications, work are behind this, behind the scene.
So, what's something that works really well in the peer review system?
Reviewers. I think reviewers. That is something they do. Work that is not paid, and we depend on them. If there were no reviewers, there were no peer review systems.
Exactly. Yeah. And what, in your opinion, is something that needs improvement?
It would be ideal that we have some uniform system and uniform procedures, because different journals use different peer review systems and authors submit to different journals, and they are getting really confused
from different rules. And
exactly.
Yeah. All right. So for somebody who's just stepping into this world, from the editorial side, helping in this process, what advice would you give this person?
I would say that they need to stay calm, to stay curious, to ask questions early at the beginning of the process and later.
All right. Well, Jelena, to wrap up this, I'd like to just pick your brain on what's the best feature in the system that you're working in right now.
I work now in e-journal press, and I really love it because previously I was working in other systems, and I have a beautiful feature called back button. So when I came here, you know, the first thing I learned that I cannot click back button. Now I can. Yeah. So I think that it's funny because it has a lot of good features. You can move manuscript through the system as you wish, and everything will work. So.
And what, in your opinion, is the best part of working in scholarly publishing?
It's contributing to the scientific world and helping authors and scientists to publish their work, which can help scientific society and also us.
Thank you. Jelena, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you, me too.
And thanks for watching.